How's it going, everyone? Welcome to NIDOCAST again. Today we have a really special guest.
Wow.
Jessie Zamudio. ¿Cómo estás, carnal?
No, está muy calentito ya. I'm just kidding. It's really warm out there, bro. I'm doing well. Doing well. How about you guys?
Let's go.
Yeah, we're doing this for our Spanish listeners today. It's actually going to all be in Spanish.
A ver si el rico puede.
A ver si puedo. No, just kidding. Yeah, man. Good to have you here. This is interesting. Sitting in we'll call this a professional environment like this. It feels very official, very mic'd up. Yeah, Jessie and I, we've known each other since probably 12 years old.
Yeah,
And we've 30, bro.
Wow.
But anyways, man, it's been cool, I guess, just following each other's journeys. I think we've been hand in hand and challenging each other. We're like very similar, but also like almost the opposite. And I think it's great that we can find commonality and find that common piece to tie us in and challenge each other and not offend each other. And we've had like so many conversations where it's been, and usually comes down to money, which is the funny thing. Money that kind of defines lifestyle and kind of decisions that you make and what life looks like for you and what you put your energy into. And yeah, I think that's been like our hardest battle, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
See,
I can tell you guys challenge each other a lot when it comes to conversation. Like it's always interesting because it's never like the same opinion. It always is like it's different, but you guys find a common ground that you can like have a conversation with. It's not too explosive.
I think the big thing is
Yeah.
really that since we're on such opposite sides of the spectrum, for me, I always take everything that you tell me. I'm like, okay, how is he really seeing this? And like, what is he correct? What is he correct about? Because I think the way we spend money is completely different. But when one's on one side, one's on the other side, it really gets you to think about, like, am I really thinking about the correct things? You know, like is it really
Yeah.
worth for me to spend this much money on this thing?
Yeah.
So I think that's good.
So I guess how your guys are common, you'll say, like, because there's many things that I can tell by eye. I mean, you're both Mexican, but I bet there's like so many different similarities.
Yeah, I think height and brownness.
I really think the one piece that is the most common for us, which I think is why we're so close and we've remained friends, and I think about this with all my friends that I remained friends with today since we were younger, is the process of wanting to learn about the world and like educating ourselves. Is I think like for him, he's always exploring, he's always educating, he's always learning, and for me, it's the same thing. You know, whether it's about for him the store, for me it's about real estate, but like just educating ourselves in whatever we're passionate about. And I think that's what sparks conversations, you know, about in his own industry and my own industry, but that sparks conversations about learning.
Absolutely.
What are you educating yourself on? What are you learning about? How are you applying that into life? You know, how's that changing your life?
Yeah, your curiosity.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah,
that you have in common.
Yeah, staying curious, exploring, and not being afraid of failure. I think like when you step outside of those zones of what's normal and what's not, I think you're gonna mess up. You know, and there's the saying I've been saying a lot is si no la cagas, no avanzas.
Yeah,
And it's like you really have to mess up. And I forget, Miguel and I were talking about something where it was like it's a matter of like who's willing to mess up enough.
yeah.
You know, and like whoever messes up the most and is willing to like fail that much is going to end up being better at that thing.
Yeah.
And I think we're okay with
Yeah.
being silly, you know, and like I think I'm starting a store and you're becoming like a leadership guy on, you know, doing podcasts, having like a personal brand and getting in front of a camera and talking and stuff. And these are all like challenging things. And I think people are probably looking at both of us like that's corny or that's like whatever, you know, and like I think these are some of the challenges that we have to face if we want to challenge ourselves and we have these ideas that we want to explore. You know, you kind of have to be vulnerable with these things. And at the end of it, I think also is respect. I think just like
for sure.
respecting someone else's ideas. I think we're very like bullheaded and we're very like confident in our ideas. But when we come to a table, like you said, seeing it from the other side and realizing that nothing is black and white and kind of there's always a gray area.
Yeah. And then one thing I do want to challenge whoever's listening to. So one of the things that he just said is challenging the belief of failure. Because I talk about this a lot with the kids that I coach. And now I want to talk to the world about this is I really don't, honestly, I don't believe in failure.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say maybe other people will say it's failure, but for me, it's always learning.
Yeah.
And it's always exploring. Like the word failure for me, I don't really ever use it because I'm like, if something comes up for someone else is failing, for someone else is not accomplishing a goal, for me it's just a stepping stone or a lesson learned to my eventual goal. Or I may get something bigger from this. So like I tell my kids all the time, right? Failure only exists is if you literally quit, if you stop. If you're at that point, then failure exists. Mm-hmm. But you're always it's just learning and exploring, I think, to me.
And experimentation for sure.
Changing that word is huge for people though. Because when you say failure, it's like you're not good. You know?
Yeah.
When you say learning.
How do you define not that good? It's by you comparing yourself to others. It doesn't exist on you and exists on the opinion that you think others have on you, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
What did success look to you, I guess, growing up? And I guess I want to start with like the youth, and kind of connecting with young people, right? Because you're coaching. What does success look like for kids? And I guess how do you apply it with your coaching, say?
Ooh. Well, when I was younger, and I think kids really struggle with this, they attach success to results. And when I was younger, I know I definitely did. And looking at all the kids that I coach now, I mean, I coach kids who are 6 years old up to 17, 18, and sometimes I'm helping with our men's team. And too many people attach success to result. And that really, to me, eats kids alive. And really, they're attaching success to result. Most of the time, it comes because of the parents, or it comes from the coach. If you just let a kid know, you're okay, there's going to be a next opportunity. You're okay, there's going to be a next opportunity. Success is never attached to the result anymore, whether you actually win or whether you lose. Success is really you being out there and you're giving it your all. You're trying to do everything possible. You're trying to learn for the next situation because it never stops. But once you attach success to a result, then eventually it's going to stop. And then that's when it goes back down to now I'm failing. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where I've really transitioned how I look at success. Success to me now is like, am I living the life that I want to live? Mm-hmm. Why am I not living that life? What can I adjust? And if I'm not living that life, then it's like, okay, then I'm not being successful in life. If I didn't show up today the way that I was supposed to show up, then I'm like, okay, was that successful? Like, am I living a successful life? Yeah. So it's more about how I'm living now and like the everyday things that I'm learning. And that to me now is success. Is like being here with you guys. Like I'm exactly where I want to be. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
You're already successful.
Yeah, I'm being successful, right? And it's like I'm living the life today that I want to live. Maybe not with certain things. Like maybe it's my health. Maybe I want to eat better, so I'm not being successful in that category. Yeah. So it's just like, am I doing the best things and making the best decisions? That's, I think, how I look at success now.
I like it. I like that a lot. I recently read this I've been reading The Power of Now. I don't know, Eckhart Tolle.
I like that. Yeah,
you read it?
Yeah, I read it.
He says about like there's actually no problems. He says in a portion in the book, he says like if you're reading right now this portion, think about it. Think about a problem that you have right now in this moment. It's not 10 minutes after, not 10 minutes before. Right now while you're reading this, and you put yourself, you're like, holy shit. What was the situation that forced you to like think about success, not relating results, but relating like life in the present, I guess? Will make you get
probably
to that point?
When I was 22 or 23.
Okay.
And I really asked myself who put this value of success equals results in my mind and why. And I think then it came down to just the way my dad lived and the way my dad, success always came with things. Success always came with results. And if you didn't achieve a result, if you didn't buy that thing, if you didn't have that thing, then you weren't successful. And then I think, I mean, with everything, I think we adopt those things because we see them. We're like seeing our parents live this thing. And everything, there's a pattern, and then you adopt it as a kid. And then at some point, it becomes a habit, and you're doing it all the time, and you're doing it all the time, until you break that mindset down and you, like, create a new person. So I think when I was 22 or 23 and I was introduced to a personality test called the Enneagram, and I really started to challenge how I see things in life. And I saw that everything came from like family stuff, family culture and family background, and that's how I looked at life. But it wasn't the way I wanted to look at life. And then I started to educate myself for the last probably 7 to 8 years. How do I want to look at life?
Did that change your relationship with your family at all? Like once you were able to see the pieces?
Yeah, so I tell people all the time that I hated my dad for a bit because...
I'm going to say I felt the same, or maybe not hated him, but I felt a resent towards him.
Yeah, so that's the right word. I wouldn't hate. I resented him. Yeah. Yeah, because then you're like, man, he taught me all these things that I don't like. I don't adopt these things. I don't want to live this way. But then you realize that his parents taught him a certain thing, and he learned certain things that then were passed on to you. He's doing the best that he can. And then once I really realized my dad was doing the best that he can, then everything that he did, I started to see, I was like, this is why he was doing it. And then I flipped my mindset. I'm like, I didn't resent him anymore. I was super proud that I was his son. And then I think that changed the whole perspective of the relationship that I have now with him.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I think, at least for me, I feel like my dad was similar and just, applying. And I'm a 3, so I'm an achiever when it comes to the Enneagram. I think we can talk about that more later. But, the idea of, like, me feeling accepted by my dad had to come through results and playing in a certain way. It came down to, like, a lot of soccer for some reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, like, the pride in, like, a Mexican dad or whatever is, like, making sure their kid is good at soccer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mi hijo juega bien.
Yeah.
El que anota goles, el delantero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely came up with that idea and that feeling of like wanting to feel accepted by my dad. And so you start molding into that person. But I think like that and like anything else, it's like there's information that you're getting from your dad. And 90% of it's probably good. But that 10% is like what we focus on or whatever. And it's like anything in life, you're going to listen to whatever YouTube video or whatever person. It's like not all of it's going to be great, but like it's your decision to figure out how to. Yeah, exactly. Take what you want and don't overcorrect. And I think overcorrection would be, hating your dad forever or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like you have to find that middle ground. Even if you have to rock back a little bit and be like, oh, yeah, I'm like, man, why did he do this to me, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, take that information and, like, get to a middle ground because I think there's so much recorrections and overcorrections, and that's a big part.
And I think one thing I looked at after my dad, and I don't know if you've done this too, and I was talking to Gavi about this when we were taking pictures the other day, is I've then took that same approach and I looked at my family. Is like how many family members that how many family events that I go to, do they talk about the same things that my dad talks about, right? And I was giving him an example. I was like, if I show up, like, I change cars often. If I show up with a car, because I don't see my family a lot, they invite me to a quinceañera, baby shower, whatever, I show up with one car. The next time I see them, I show up with a different car. The next time I see him, I show up with a different car. And he's like, now he thinks he's better than us. He's showing up on all these different cars. I didn't do anything. Yeah. All I'm doing is going about my life. Maybe I purchased that car for a business expense. Maybe I had to change car because I just had a kid. They don't know, but the automatic belief is that now I think I'm better than them. I didn't do anything other than show up in a new car, And then I have these reasons. So it's just like if my family is then going to, because my daughter's not growing up in this, and if my family members or something are going to say something negative about me just simply because I'm living my life, then I don't want my daughter around that. I don't want to be around that. So then it's like, do I even want to hang out with them? So first I'll have that conversation with them and be like, hey, just so you know, it's not what I'm trying to be. I know you were saying these things, and then see how they react. And it's like, if they're willing to be open about the other side, it's like, I don't want my daughter to be around those things, and I hope you understand that. And you'll start to see the family members you want to be around. So I think that's really hard too.
Because it is hard.
So many things, and then it's like, just because they're family, it's like, oh, you're not going to her quinceañera, like you have to go to her quinceañera. Like, come on, are you really gonna miss it? But it's like, if I have other important things to do and I don't talk to that family member and I'm not close with them, I don't align with their values.
Oh, you ensure their values, even if they're family. And there's something about Mexican families that they're so wide open that you go to the cousin of the cousin, and for some reason you guys are close, but you don't share their values. Or the opposite, that you have like un primo hermano, a brother cousin. I don't know if that term exists in English. That you have your closest cousin,
first cousin,
your first cousin that you probably are not like, you don't connect easily, but then you have a cousin of a cousin of a cousin who he's barely your cousin, but he's still part of like your family, and you get along so well.
Yeah.
And no, but I totally like coming back at that. I totally feel you. I sometimes feel I have a huge family, and sometimes I feel like I have met so many family members, and I can realize that I get along way better with some others that I don't.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to like let go of the other ones,
Yeah.
even if they're like so close to you. Definitely.
But imagine so this is where it really changed for me now, like even more. I mean,
Yeah.
I've
How
already
do
been
you
this
go
way,
about it?
Yeah. So like now where it really changed for me is like now having my daughter
Yeah.
and seeing like, do I want my daughter in this environment? And that is what really changed everything for me. Because I can handle it. I'm an adult. I understand. I can be around them. Like I know how they are. But my daughter's going to grow up seeing that, thinking that yelling at each other or talking about each other or whatever it is okay. And like for me, I don't want my daughter to be around that. So now it's really changed for me. Before I'm like, I can handle this. I can go to the quinceañera. I can go to the baby shower. You know, I can go to the wedding and sit at the table while they're all arguing and talking crap about other cousins. Like I can go and do that because I know I can block it out. So, but I don't want my daughter to be there. So now it's really changed for me.
I think it comes down to energy and like what you want to be exposed to, and it's like as you get older, you get less and less time, or at least it feels that way. And for me, I guess I've always been pretty selfish when it comes down to it. Like if I don't want to be somewhere, I'm not gonna go.
Yeah.
Like even if it's like I love my grandma, you know, but like she wants me to be there every day if possible, you know, and it's like at times she's like, hey, I made some pozole or whatever, and it's like I really appreciate it. Like I will come see you. I can't today. Like I need to work out or something, you know, and I'm going to be selfish about how I use my energy. But yeah, I don't know.
I guess a question like going about that, do you ever feel like you have to be an example for like the bad habits that your parents were teaching you? Do you ever try to make a difference on them or like showing them an example? Because I struggle the same when I go back to Mexico. I realize like since I have to become my own person and I have to take care of my little brother right here, I realize like all the mistakes, well, not mistakes, but all the things or flaws of the way my parents were raising us, the way they were feeding us mostly, because we weren't eating really healthy. We were eating a lot, but that didn't mean we were eating good. And like, it's kind of hard and exhausting to kind of like, I love my parents. They're probably the people who I love the most, but it gets hard to spend time with them when all in these type of environments when they're kind of unhealthy.
At the end of the day, though, if you really think about it, it goes back to like the concept. One of the things that someone just introduced me to recently is the concept of exploring. Because, so what really is happening from like, correct me if I'm wrong, like from where I hear it, is you're trying to correct some of the flaws of your parents.
Not correct it, but like just show them. Show them my example. Yeah.
Expose them
but
to
it. It's really interesting because the two things are going to happen there, right? So one, like for me, I have tough conversations with my parents. I do not. Some people like shy away from that. I have really tough conversations with my parents. I'm not afraid to cry with my mom. Like I will, because she's very emotional. Like I have conversations like that at least once a week. I'm not kidding, because she babysits my daughter now. But the other thing is that I also understand that I may be so much one way that there's going to be flaws that happen also with the way I am. And that's also going to be created for my daughter. And my daughter's going to be the same way. And she's going to be like, oh, I didn't like how my dad was. Now I'm going to try and be an example for me.
That's true.
So it's like it never ends, right? It's everyone. That's why it goes back again to, so failure and success is like, success is just living your best life and trying to be the best person that you can be, and obviously being kind and loving. But no matter what we do, we're creating something then for the next generation, whether it's kids that I coach, whether it's my daughter, and they're going to go through the same exact process. So it's just about exploring and living a successful life, but living a successful life meaning that you're living the life that you want to live.
Yeah. So recently we had a conversation about kind of your wife, Erin, and talking about a little bit of what she's kind of imposed on your life in terms of like what is enough and kind of what success is as like a pairing.
Yeah.
How does she kind of change who you are? Because you guys are like almost opposites as well. Like I feel like
she's more similar to you.
Yeah. I feel like Erin's more similar to me. And even with like religion and kind of like lifestyle. I don't know. How does that work out in your day to day, or like recently with your kid, or? as you continued to like build this success financially? And
I think it's really difficult in our relationship because I always knew that I wanted to be my own boss, and she came from a world where you have to get a degree and you have to have a successful job, and that is success to them, you know. Having, like, she's a physical therapist, she has a doctorate degree. Her sister has a doctorate degree. Her other sister's an engineer. I'm the complete opposite. None of my parents went to school. I mean, they were out in middle school. You know, they didn't go to school after middle school. So for me, it's like I have to create success a different way. So just the way we viewed about, like, how we go about our daily life was different. And then I tried to show her the other world, you know, and by me showing her the other world, I thought I had to have everything. And I thought I had to have a lot. But I never took some time. Like, I always knew she didn't need a lot. She didn't even know what type of car I drove 2 years into our relationship. Like, she didn't even know literally the make and model of the car. She didn't know what car I drove until 2 years later when she's like, oh, that car's really nice. It's like, babe, I drive that same car. Like, that's how it was. She didn't know. So when it comes down to what car she wants to have, she doesn't care. You know, when it comes down to, like, clothes, like having nice like leggings, she likes quality stuff that will last you a while. So we recently had a conversation because I think I had an idea of how much money I want to have, what I need. And it was my idea, but it was not our idea. And in my life, it's all about our ideas and what do we want as a couple. Yeah. Because what I want is maybe not what she wants. And if I'm getting what I want, well, she's not happy. If she's getting what she wants, well, I'm not happy. So it's about what we want. So then I recently had a conversation with her about, like, how much money is enough? Like, what do you want to drive? What do you want to have? Why, most importantly, do you want to drive that, and why do you want to have that? And I'm not just talking about cars, but I'm just talking about everything in life. Like, we literally were asking ourselves these questions. And then we sort of came up with a plan of, like, how much enough was enough. And I think she loves traveling. She loves having a house where we can host. Like, she loves the pool. She loves a big backyard. She wants more than enough, like, rooms in her house to, like, have people over, stay the night. So, like, then we came up with, like, a conclusion of, like, okay, so is this what you want? But then it was like, but I also want this. Like, me, I want this. Is this okay with you? You know?
Get a 8v8 soccer field in the back.
Exactly. And I did say that.
Zapato.
But that goes hand in hand with her wanting to host. Like, we need a big yard.
Yeah.
So how can we combine both, right? Like, the kids are going to be running around. The kids are going to be doing this in the backyard. So it's like we started to craft what it is we wanted with our house, with our finances, with our travel, for our kids. Like, you start to craft it with both the ideas. But before that, I had this concept of, like, oh my gosh, I need $100 million, and I don't even know why.
Thank God for Aaron, bro.
yeah. So, but that's the thing, though.
If you would have aligned with, like, if you married another Jessie,
that would have been crazy. I thought about that.
Bro.
That would have been crazy. And even today, because, like, I really do believe that if I married another person like me, like, I mean, I would have tens of millions in my bank account, but I would not be happy.
Yeah.
Like, I would not be happy because I can work 24/7, but it's like, that doesn't matter. All that money in the world doesn't matter.
Didn't
My
know
wife
how
and I
it
are
was
happy.
enough. What made
Yeah.
you think that way? What originated this ambition of yours, I guess? Like, was it the way you were raised again?
It goes back to, like, this concept of exploring the world.
Okay.
And it's like, if you only have one life, if I only have one life,
how do I win?
not how do I win, I think, is going back to success is, like, what is my limit? And I was telling Rico about this at your birthday party, your 30th birthday party. Like, when is enough enough? And it's like, I decided when enough is enough as far as finances go. But what if I explore opportunities that bring me exponential finances because of what I'm exploring? I'm not chasing the money. What if all of a sudden I walk out this door, I get a call, hey, someone is selling this HVAC business. Someone is selling this roofing business. Someone is doing this. And I'm purchasing these businesses and the money is attached to it. I'm not going looking for millions of dollars saying I'm going to do this. But then all of a sudden I start acquiring all these businesses and the money comes from all of that. So it's not so much that I'm chasing money because now I know how much money I want. Now I know what I want to have, how I want to live my life. Like, now I know who I want to be with.
Yeah.
But all these things come with it when you are that way.
Yeah.
When you are exploring those things, the money and all that other stuff just comes with it, right? And I think that's something that I really want to talk to people about is you have to change that mindset about, like, I need to have this or I want to have this. No, first you need to fix your mind, and then those things will just come with it.
Yeah. It seems you have fun chasing the game, though.
Yeah, I love
it. Seems you have the way this might sound weird, but you enjoy the game of capitalism in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that. I guess like where do you find joy on it, or like why is it so fun?
Man, I think it's fun because it's like it just never ends, and the success piece with results is like once you get a result, what are you doing right away? You're chasing the feeling, you're chasing the emotions. That is the part that I always chase. Like the feeling that it comes down to, like someone just sent me this deal, someone just sent me this business, and it's like, okay, let me run the numbers. Like, dude, what can we do with it? Like, what can we create from it? Like, how can I help my players, the kids that I coach, even with soccer? Like, how can I help them craft a different idea? Like, that feeling of that's fun for me. Like, that is literally fun. And people always say, like, I'm crazy because I can work so much. But to me, like, I don't look at it that way because that is fun. Doing those things for other people is like, I don't want to sit here and do this all day. But for me, that what people call work is fun for me.
Yeah, it's a different type of like creativity
and
almost.
you're also
and like,
attaching it to other people around you too.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like it's like architecting things, you know, just like ideas,
Art.
you know. It's
art.
creating things, and yeah, you can call it whatever, but like there's like this world is a blank canvas and you can kind of create anything. And I think the coolest part is like the part that we talked about a little bit is like designing your own life and kind of making the efforts to kind of figure out exactly how you want to live your life, what sacrifices you have to make with that. And then you have to like add the extra challenge of, you know, now you want a partner and kids.
Yeah.
And because I think that never ends either, you know, and it's like this.
No. And I'm this way with everything in life. I'm like this with everything. And I tell my wife all the time, the first thing that I think of all the time is how to improve a relationship. Like, I put that before anything else. That, and obviously with my daughter too, but like the way I am when it comes down to deals, and I'm running numbers in the back of my head, I'm running all these different things that I can do with the business. I'm like that with a relationship. Every single moment, like if we had an argument this morning, all day, I would say most of the day, then I'm also thinking about what could I say different? What word could I exchange for this word? How can I touch her different? How can I like wake her up different? Do I bring her coffee? So it's like, and my mind is just always spinning. Yeah. So one of the things I really need to do more of, and I decided I want to do more of, is just sit down in peace and sit down in quiet, or take like a 3 or 4 minute walk, because my mind is just always spinning, and that's just how my mind always works.
Yeah. So I wanted to touch on something that's like kind of not a fear, but I remember one time I had an interview and they asked me like what my biggest fear was, which was out of the question. Like, I don't know why they asked me that. It was like for this simple ass job at whatever little local job. And I was like, okay, that's a wild question. But I said money. And this was when I was like probably 19 years old or something. And I said money because I feel like it controls everything. And this is just like a fear that I wanted to put out there, and maybe other people feel that way or have felt that way. That it kind of controls things, and it controls like what your life looks like, what your schedule is, how many hours you put towards something, what you end up doing. 'Cause it's like, oh, you could just end up doing this bullshit job or whatever, like enterprise that you don't even like, but it makes enough money for you. I guess, what do you say to that? Like, have you ever felt like money controlled your life in any way?
Yeah, for sure. But I think now about money. So with anything, I think of a lot of things now as a relationship. And it's, do I want to have a relationship with something that controls me? I don't want to have that relationship. So what is wrong there in that relationship? And that's when, like, when you said that I think of money that way, yeah, money at one point was my biggest fear, and that's why I think I am this way. But now my relationship with money is amazing, because now money and I have this like mutual understanding and this mutual relationship that with money, we're going to change the world. You know, we're going to help kids have more access to soccer. I'm going to create other businesses that then give back to a certain business or a certain cause. Like, that's a relationship that you create. So people have that relationship with everything. Like, I have that relationship. You have that relationship with yourself. You have a relationship with a friend. To me, money's no different. It's like I don't want to have a negative relationship with anyone. And if I do, I have to study why I have a negative relationship.
Yep.
Because I really think that people just have a bad relationship with money, and people need to change their mindset on how they think about money. And when you say money controls you, it does control you when you can't keep track of how much money you're making, when you don't know where your money is going, when you don't know what bills you have to pay. Of course it's going to control you, because nobody, I wouldn't say nobody, but a good majority of the world doesn't keep track of that stuff. You just go through life living certain things, and here, cha-ching, I'm going to pay for that. I'm going to pay for a coffee. I'm going to pay for a bag. I'm going to pay for this. So it's like, of course, money is going to control you. So I feel like it's just like I look at that now as a relationship, like I look at many things in life.
Mm-hmm.
What yeah, I guess, how do you see what has been like the way people actually think about money, and what is like the wrong way of thinking about money? You talked about like the bad relationship with it, or like how do let's start with like Mexican people or like Hispanic people, and kind of how we've grown up around it.
Mexicans, I don't know why we're so scared about talking about money.
The world is scared about talking about money, dude.
Yeah.
The world is scared to talk about money, because I think many people think that money is a measure of a person. And that's not true. I think money, how much do you make? And if someone has a certain job, you know that they're living well off, maybe because they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I think money is a measurement tool, and it shouldn't be a measurement tool. And I think that that's why, for me, when we go into this podcast, the majority of it is going to be about mindset.
Yeah.
How do you shift your mindset towards money? Because I can give everyone the same tools that I'm using, and they will not do them, because their mindset is not in the correct place. Their habits are not in the correct place.
Yeah.
So why does it matter if I give a person, there's a lot of homeless people out here, on the street. Why does it matter if I give the person $100,000 right now? What's going to happen with it? They're probably going to spend it on maybe drugs. I'm not trying to judge, but like drugs, alcohol, buy stuff, Yeah, so what's going to happen right away, it's going to be back in the hands of the people that do have the right strategies and the right habits.
Mm-hmm.
So the majority of it, I would say 80 to 90% is the mindset, and 20% then are the strategies. If you can change your mindset, the strategies that show up for you are going to come with it.
Yeah, I remember reading this book, and what you're saying sounds so similar to what I read in the book too, Happy Money, written by, I forgot the writer, but he was a Japanese dude. And he talked about like how money is the equivalent to like oxygen, and also to, it's just another person, another relationship, as you're saying, in your life. And you can have really scared money, or you can have really angry money, or you can have just really happy money in your relationship. You just decide with which one you want to go, and what do you attach value on it.
Yeah. But you for sure should not look at money. I mean, obviously everyone does for a certain reason in their life, but you should not look at money as a fear, I think.
Or something that controls you.
You need to, if you can just look at it as a relationship, like even your relationship with yourself, how is your relationship with yourself? Do you talk negative about yourself? Like, would you be your own best friend?
Yeah.
If you wouldn't be your own best friend, that's an issue. That's a big problem, because you're going around every single day with this mind. So if you can't say you'd be your own best friend, then you need to change your mind. You need to change this best friend. Mm-hmm. That is a big, big thing to me.
Yeah. So you talk about sports being kind of your passion, or like the soccer club is like not what you do this for, but like it's like that's what you're passionate about. Why is that like the most important one out of all these things within like real estate, I guess now leadership stuff, and sports?
I recently just like came on. That was like a big question I asked myself a couple months ago. And like, why is soccer? Obviously, one, I played soccer and I grew up in it. It was a struggle. Like, I wanted to be a professional player growing up. And now I feel like I have all the tools to help kids if they want to be a professional player, like how to get them there. And I feel like it comes back to the piece of education. One, I played soccer and I grew up like this was my ultimate life goal, to be a professional player. And I played, on like the futsal national team, and I have other kids that want to aspire to also do some of those things. And I have access to teaching them how to do that. Now it's starting to become the same thing with coaching and giving back to the community when it comes down to the mindset and the money and self-awareness. So it comes back down to coaching. So I think it's how am I able to impact other people and help other people achieve their life goals through the person that I have become. So that really soccer though is because, I mean, in the U.S. it's a pay-to-play model, so I want to give everyone access to that. Like, if that is your goal, how can I help provide that?
Yeah.
Right? And now I'm starting to explore this other stuff now where I'm starting to also explore that option for people that want to have big goals when it comes down to money or just being a better person, because it's not just about money. It's just how do you live the life that you want to live. Most people, I don't think, really need a lot. I think most people just need to learn how to control their life, especially when it comes down to money.
How to have enough.
Yeah, so it's about education. Like that, particularly soccer is my passion. Futsal is my passion. It's what I love to do because it comes from me wanting to have this goal of being a professional player, and it comes down to educating the next generation. And if I can impact that and play a major role, that's like the most beautiful thing in the world for me. But now I'm also starting to try and do this with life and with self-awareness and money and the mindset and all this stuff that we're creating now.
Yeah. How do you feel about identity in terms of like, I don't really have like a full question on it. But how do you think identity plays a role in how people pursue their goals?
I think identity matters more than goals. Because I was just talking on Tuesdays, today's Tuesday, I have a 5 a.m. group. I've 5 players that I've like handpicked that train at 5:30 a.m. with me every Tuesday. And every Tuesday, so we show up probably like 5:20, but every Tuesday I've tried to make it a topic to help they're young kids. I mean, it's 15 years old, 2 kids that are 15, 2 kids that are 17. The 2 kids that are 15 play on like super high level. One of the kids 18 and is going to go to college and play college soccer. The other kid is one of the top college players in the country. So like, how am I going to help them create an identity of just limitless potential? So I told them this morning, and this was literally our topic, is it doesn't matter what your goals are if your identity can't let you achieve those goals. So for one of them, let's say like one of the kids, I mean, Nolan, like that kid's a beast, and his goal is to make it a professional player, but he doubts himself so much.
Oh.
And it's
he's
like
a 6, right?
Yeah, he's an 8, just like me.
Oh, okay.
So I live everything that he lives. Like literally, our minds are the same. So let's say your goal is being a professional player. Let's say your goal to finance terms, make it have $100,000. Your goal for Rico is to expand to 10 stores. I don't know where your goal may be. But if your identity is always looking for reasons why you can't do it, it doesn't matter what your goal is. Your identity and what you're crafting is a person that is doubting yourself all the time.
Yeah.
So you can have whatever goal. It can be the smallest goal. But if you're constantly looking for reasons why you can't achieve it, so you're never going to achieve that goal. And I started to tell him this morning, I was like, if you can either of you guys tell me you have 100%, like there's nothing that comes into your life that you're going to be like, that's not going to stop me. That's not going to stop me. That's not going to stop me. And it goes back to failure and lessons. If you just look at everything as lessons and you look at everything as improving, there's no doubt in your mind. Because it's like sooner or later I'm going to get it. Sooner or later I'm going to get it. And it's when am I going to get it? At some point you will get it. And I think like Nolan really struggles with attaching success to results. And in the last couple like months, he's really struggled with a couple trials that he's been to. And I'm like, dude, it's going to keep going. It's going to keep going. Even when you make that team, it's going to keep going. You're always going to be this way.
You're already trying.
And I really try to work with him on changing his identity. And it's no longer about the result. It's about the person you're becoming in this. And one of the guys that I love, this is big on identity. He says, become a millionaire, not because of the money. Become a millionaire because of the person you have to be to become a millionaire. Because the person you have to become a millionaire is a complete different person. And at the time, he said this like 40 years ago, so now it's tens of millions. But for someone to have that type of money, you have to be very, very self-aware. You have to be very educated. You have to know what to get into. You have to be able to manage people. You have to become a whole different person. So he says don't do it for the money. Do it for the person that you're becoming, which is then that identity piece that you just talked about.
Absolutely. It's not for what you're doing, for what you even spending the money on, but for you, who you becoming. You probably are going to become a way more responsible person, who knows, and someone really different.
Consistent.
How does that feel like when you're like having to introduce yourself again to some people who like met you before and you were a totally different person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's really interesting because
I feel it too, man. When I go back and I see my friends from middle school and everything, it's like I don't even. It's hard to connect at that point.
Yeah, I think I've realized like recently it's really weird because when someone doesn't know you before, like all these masterminds that I go to, and I tell them like what I'm doing, and then they start to ask me questions like, "How'd you become this way? What'd you do?" They're like, "Dude, that is so cool. That is so cool. Like, that's great for you." And we all support each other. Like, that's how everyone in the room is. But when you tell someone that's met you before, and now that is like, now you're telling them, like, this is who you are now, it's this weird feeling of, like, almost like, really? Like, does this dude think he's better than us? Or, like, does this guy think, like, it's just, they had an image of who you were before, and they don't think maybe that you can achieve it, but that's because that's their mind. Yeah. Like they have this judgment of who you were 10 years ago. You know, you go back to your reunion, your 10-year reunion for high school. It's like they had an image of in your mind of like who you were supposed to become based on what they knew at that time. But you became someone else. And they're like, really? Like, did they really become that? Like, so it's like they have this already made up mind. But it's, to me now, I've learned to detach from that, of what other people think about me. And it goes back to the success piece. Is if I'm living my life the way I want to live, then I'm doing great, you know. Mm-hmm. And also like we were just talking about selling versus serving. Is like when I show up now, I try to have a mindset of serving people. And sometimes it goes overboard because then this is where Erin really helps me. She's like, that person didn't ask for your advice. Like, shut up, you know, like. Stop talking. Like, they asked you one question and then you went on to 50 different things. She's like, so she'll tap me. She'll be like, stop, come on. Or like, we're at the kitchen table and they asked one question and now I'm helping them all these different things. And I see it as serving, but then it gets to a point where we're like, okay, they just asked you a simple question. So it can get bad for me, but I just have to check myself in that.
I asked you what shoes you liked. How did this happen?
Yeah. Are you talking about these different things? Do you ever allow yourself to be served?
That's hard for me. That is really, really hard for me. I think that is one of the things I struggle with the most because I don't know why, I just feel bad when someone else is, I feel like that's just supposed to be who I am, like serving everyone, giving back, like providing. And then I also have a relationship with people. I have a bad relationship, I think, because like I'm very like alpha oriented. When someone else steps in the room that is exactly like me, but is way in a higher position. When I'm in a higher position, that can be different things, right? Like it can be they're older than me. They have like, there's the CEO of a company, they're whatever it is. I have a hard, like, I also create a lot of conflicts in my mind when it comes down to this person. He's just trying to serve me, but I see it as he's trying to control me. I hate being controlled. Like that is something that I struggle with, but he's just trying to serve me. So it's also then hard for me to let that person serve me. All he's trying to do is mentor me. I see it as he's trying to control me and like judge what I'm trying to do and judge who I'm trying to become. So I struggle both. I struggle with like my mom now helping me a ton, or just random people. Like I'll give you the biggest example. We just had my daughter's party on Sunday, her first year, and my cousins came over and helped me put the tent up, put the chairs up. Like one of my cousins was driving back and forth, and I felt like I needed to pay them. And I was like, literally, I told my because again, going back to money, and it's like, I told my wife, I was like, okay, I need to give them something. Like, I can't just let them, and I sent them the money, and she sent it right back to me. And she's like, no, you're my family. Like, I love you. Like, you don't need to pay me anything, you know? So it's really hard for me to let other people do that for me, whether it's like just my family or someone that is higher up, I think. And I get a little emotional thinking about it, but yeah.
I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who does serve you, I guess? Or like how does say Erin, your wife, serve you, or how does that work out for you? Do you let her?
So she doesn't like the word serving. She doesn't like the word serving. I think she has a bad relationship with the word serving because it means you're being a subordinate servant, or you're being controlled by the other person.
Yeah.
And I think goes like what I just telling you. Like, so I think she really has a hard time with that. And so do I. But like, for me, serving comes from the Bible. Is like, you should be serving the world. You know, like Jesus was a servant. He came here and he served everybody. So for me, that's how it is. And I think the people that really like, it's weird. My like Erin, I think for her, like serving me is just like keeping me in line with my goals, who I am, who I want to become.
Listening to you.
Yeah. So I think that's a big piece. And honestly, the person that serves me the most is my daughter.
I was gonna ask you that.
She serves me the most because she teaches me so much about life right now that I'm learning that it's like so many other things don't even matter.
She doesn't even talking to you, and she's like teaching you so much.
Yeah.
Now imagine how will you feel when your daughter is speaking and she will like give you the lesson out of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think she's a big one. And then my mom's like, she's a 2, which is a helper in the Enneagram, nonstop. I mean, she quit her full-time job to babysit my daughter. She's at the house right now. She'll text me like, hey, do you want me to cook that meat for you that's in the fridge? Like, she's just nonstop server, sometimes too much. But like, and a big reason what I do is to try and give back to them like as much as possible because of everything that she is and who she is and who my dad is. So like those are big. And actually, now that I think about it, my dad too, I mean, he works with our business, and he's like our electrician, our plumber, like our go-to guy, handyman. So in a way, I mean, he is serving me because he's, with the business and everything, he's helping me.
It's a bit more transactional, I would say, but
yeah. But I think for him, he also sees it as serving because he's doing something that he loves. Like, he doesn't really look at it as money much because he knows, he's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's the piece where it's like we're serving each other.
Yeah.
Good.
I guess we're 48 minutes in.
Damn.
We should probably get into what's going on with this. I don't know what you want to call it, workshop or seminar or cohort. I don't know.
I don't like the word workshop or seminar. I like the word mastermind.
Mastermind.
Yeah, because a workshop or a seminar is like I'm teaching. And I don't want this to be something like, I feel like I want it to be something where we're helping each other. A mastermind is something where people are coming together with like-minded thoughts that want to grow, that want to be better. I don't want this to be like, hey, I am in charge and you need to do this. Like, I want this to be, going back to serving, is like, how are we all coming into this room and serving each other? And I want it to be very interactional. Like, I want it to be where people are open about how much they're making. And do you want to make more? Why are you not making more? What things are you struggling with? Right? Like, I want these things to come out in this mastermind. And a workshop is not like that. A seminar is not like that. Usually when you go to a seminar, you sit there, the guy talks for, an hour, 2 hours.
Take down some notes and you walk home.
And you walk home. Yeah. So I think that's how I really think about like masterminds now that I've attended them a little bit more. It's very interactional, and usually it's people like the masterminds that I attend, people doing similar things to you guys teaming up together and maybe like getting a deal from it, or you taking the ideas that they're doing and then applying them as well, So that's how I look at like the mastermind piece versus seminar, and
allowing them to ask questions. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's more of a conversation.
Yeah.
What I guess to get into it, what inspired it? Why did you think that this is necessary?
The inspiration came. So now I've been attending a couple of these in the last like year and a half or so, and every time I stepped into the room, at first, the first one that I stepped into was like, man, this is really sweet, and it goes back to the education and just learning in the world. Like, this is really cool. I try to stay quiet as much as possible, but the 8 in me was like, okay, now I got to interact, now I got to get involved, now I got to conversate. So the first one was like I was just trying to meet everyone in the room. I thought like I was going to be in a much lesser, because of my age, like a lot of people were, not I wouldn't say a lot of people, but I would say 80% of the crowd was older. 80% of the crowd had more established businesses, been in the industry for 20, 30 years. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I felt like maybe I didn't have a lot to say. But then you start to get into it, and it's like, oh no, like I'm right there with them, and I'm not in just like the finance piece, but in the person that I am, the mind that I've created. Then it got to the second one, I felt a little bit more confident. It got to the third one, and I started listening to the speakers, what they talked about. And it almost felt like when I was listening to the speakers, especially when it come down to mindset, not so much maybe the money piece, I felt like I already knew what they were going to say like 5 minutes before they said it. Yeah. And then it became a piece where like, I was like, okay, if I'm listening to them, they're saying the things that I already know what they're going to say. How can I take this back? Like, I must have something in this mind that can give back to our community. If I'm paying thousands and thousands of dollars to be in this room that are, I wouldn't say get taught everything that I already know, but everyone says things in a different way, and everyone has their own things about going about a different way when it comes down to self-awareness, but it's all dials in back to the same thing. So it's like, I'm listening to all this, I'm taking in this knowledge. How can I take this back and do it? And I was literally this last one that I just came back from. This was the last one, and I was about to sign up for another one. And the one I was just about to sign up for was $30,000. And I was like, dang. Like, am
you
like,
already
really?
gonna know what they're gonna say.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, this guy that spoke, like, he changed completely how I felt.
Really?
But like, yeah, I was like, dude, I gotta align with this dude. And then I brought it to Erin, and then that's when Erin changed my mind. And then she really was like, okay, you're gonna be away more. You're gonna take more time away from your family. And I was like, okay, it goes back down to the same thing. Like, I've already been listening to all these guys talk about these things and talk about these things and talk about these things. And then I literally reached out to Rico and I was like, bro, we need to start our own mastermind. Like, we need to bring this into our community. So instead of me having to spend $33,000, I'll continue to educate myself. I'll just go to smaller masterminds with them that cost a little bit less. And then I'm just going to bring it all here. And now it's like, I'm going to do the mastermind here for, I think we said $100. It's like, I had to pay $20,000, $25,000, $30,000. Some of these people that went to the mastermind had to pay $100,000 to get into these rooms. And people don't understand that concept, that it's like, people pay a lot of money to have access to people, like close-up access to people who are doing this, because it buys you so much time. If I can pay $20,000 to skip 10 years of my life and 10 years of like learning lessons, I'll pay it any day, right? Because one of the guys says that I listen to is like, if your goal is to make $1 million, he's like, and every year you're making $50,000, how much is it costing you to not make $1 million every year? It's costing you $950,000 every year to not make, $1 million. So it just goes back to, how can I provide this to our community? And it goes back to like, what can I create from this? Like, what's going to come from this?
Yeah.
Can I create something much bigger than just Grand Rapids one day? Are we going to be at Van Andel downtown one day? I don't know. Like, it goes back to that and exploring that, because I want to impact. Right now it's 24 people.
Yeah.
We want to make it very, very intimate, but then it goes down to like, where can we take this? And not just me, where can we all take this together as a team? Right? Because this really came, like, I think we're really shifted this gear, because I don't even know if he realizes it, but I've sort of told you, is like, when you had this space, it's like, man, my boy has this space. Like, let's put it to use. And I think him hearing his goals with this space and what he wants to create directly aligned with what I also want to create in the future. So that's why it's like, now I reach out to him. Like, I had a soccer coaching workshop here. I want to have the mastermind here. So it's like, the space that he wants to create is also something that I want to create. How are we going to do this for Grand Rapids together now? So I think that's the other cool piece. It's not just about doing it on your own.
Absolutely.
It's about doing it with the people that are close to you, and like, how are you going to create this together? Because you're crafting it together. When you do it on your own, it's lonely, And if you're doing it on your own, you're probably doing the wrong thing. If you're doing it on your own, then maybe it is too selfish. But when you're doing it with a team and a group of people that love this,
and when you're forced to like interact and accept those differences from everyone, it feels more of a right path.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
I totally feel you with that, because I'm recently right now taking a break from college, because I was going for video production and how to make films. And that's what I decided for it to be my career. I got a full ride to Grand Valley, but
nice.
I was there for a year and a half, and I wasn't feeling it. The program wasn't it. I just realized it was not the right decision. But the reason why I got so much confidence is because I took a course of how to make films. It was a 10-hour course that cost me $50. The reason why it was so cheap, it was because it was run by a Mexican guy. So he was charging in pesos. So it was barely anything, but it was so much juice in it. Yeah. And it has so much personality, so much love. Dude wasn't lying to you at any moment, and he was so approachable. He was just teaching with example mostly. Yeah. And it was really, I never took classes of how to make films, but I can just tell he knew what he was doing, but he was so confident too. And you can tell he will learn a lot from his students as well. The questions that they were asked by the other people, he allowed himself to be collectively. He allowed the course to know each other too. He allowed everyone to connect. Mm-hmm. What made it so cool? I guess, what are some things that are exciting you the most from making this mastermind?
Yeah. What I'm really most excited about is for people to take these things back and see how it impacts their family.
Mm-hmm.
And how they apply it to their life and how they then can change other people. Because if I can help this mastermind impact 24 people, and then they have families, and then those people can maybe take it and impact families and continue doing this, like now we're creating this environment, we're creating a space where this is then hopefully going to have a trickle effect with everyone in Grand Rapids, you know?
Yeah.
Like this is creating an environment where we're helping people have a good relationship with themselves and have a good relationship with money.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'm really, really excited about. And it's the same thing with my soccer club and futsal club is the environment that we're creating. I want them to have a good relationship with soccer and with futsal. And it's, I feel like for soccer, it's like there's a lot of clubs out here that are not creating that right relationship.
Yeah.
So I think obviously with money and mindset it's different because you are creating that money and mindset, especially if you're older, that relationship with it. So it's like I'm really excited to see how it impacts me because like I'm going to learn a ton from this going through it, but also like them. And it's like where could I have helped them more? Like, did I hit this wrong? Did I hit this right? Did this really impact them? Like, how can we impact each other more? And how can we then continue to create that relationship and that environment here, like in Grand Rapids, with more people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll say I'm really excited to just have deep conversations. That's always like something that I think is missing when it comes to our community, especially when it comes to money, but just in general, like what do we actually want out of life? How do we want to spend our time? How do we want to spend our money? What are we afraid of? You know, like these things that they do run your life. And then it's like, in the end, I look at my life and I'm like, I want to be happy. I want to have fun, you know, and like, that's like really it. It's like, I want to be happy and I want to have fun. How do I do those things? What are the things that are stopping me from doing that consistently? How do I feel controlled? Is it actually this feeling? Is it accurate? You know, like getting information and then trying to make decisions.
Yeah.
And it helps to have people around you. It helps to have, you know, these conversations that you have someone across the table that's challenging you and saying, well, maybe you should look at it like this. And just having some more of those conversations, I think, like you mentioned, I think this space that I have here at Nido, it's like, I want there to be serious things that happen here, you know, and like having fun is serious. You know, to me, it's like, we're going to have a mindset thing, but also we're going to have a DJ set, say this Friday, you know, and it's like, those are both serious things.
Yeah.
You know, like, how do you interact with
having this conversation is some sort of seriousness.
Yeah. It's like, having fun seriously.
Yeah.
Or something around that, you know, it's like, whether it's a conversation with your parents or, you know, whatever, it's like, sometimes you get into those scary places or like those fun places, and that's the space where you need to do something scary, you know, or vice versa. It's like scary and you need to do something fun, you know, and like, I'm just excited to kind of have those spaces to really challenge yourselves and have these important conversations. Because like you're saying, you can spend 5 years, you know, not having that one conversation with your dad or with your mom or with your wife or whatever. And like, dang, if I just had one conversation, I could have just like cleared up all this, you know, or, you know, and like figuring out what are those blockers that are stopping you from getting to that place in your life that you feel happy or, you know, you feel like you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Totally.
Who would you say this is designed for, the mindset or the mastermind?
I mean, if it was up to me, I'd say everybody. I think everybody has to be in a journey of self-awareness with themselves.
It's more about that, right? Self-awareness.
Everybody has to be in a journey. Yeah, but I think here's the piece, and it sucks, right? Is when you say the word money, then it attracts so many more people.
Yeah.
And you say mindset. I want to have a mindset mastermind. People are gonna be like, "What? Do I really want to be a part of that?" But then you say, "I want to have money and mindset mastermind, and I'm gonna teach you a lot of tricks on how to make more money, how to save more money, how to invest more money." Then it just attracts the person more. More people are attracted to that than they are like the conversations of mindset.
Unfortunately, it seems like you're going inside the problem in order to break the problem from inside.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I love that for sure. So I think really the people that I'm going to be looking for that we, I think, want to be looking for right now is someone who is ready to step into those shoes of becoming a different person, through becoming more self-aware, and then through also wanting to level up how much money they're either making, how much money they want to save, how much money they want to invest. And it can be people like, I think I want to have a variety of people. Like I want to have someone who is like, someone like you is perfect example, right? You're exploring your field, and it's like, how do I budget? Okay, once I start to save money, where am I going to put it? You know, and I want to quickly break that down, because I can do that in 5 or 10 minutes. I do 5 minutes really and give you the dumb down. But then I want to take a little bit higher up and be like, okay, well, now you're 25, 26, you have a good amount of investments, maybe you have a first-time home. It's like, okay, what are you going to do then? How are you going to level up then again when it comes down to your finances? And then maybe there's someone that has a business, maybe 2 rentals. It's like, okay, so where are you going to invest in now? You know, so I for me, it's like I've been very privileged to be able to break all those things down like that. And I was just telling you about the conversation I had with one of my friends that is like selling his land, making X amount of money. And now he's like, dude, what do you think I should do with this? And it's like, okay, maybe do this. You can put it here, or you can put it here. Yeah. Like I think I want to have a group of people who are all sort of in different categories to create an environment where everybody can help each other. And one thing that I help this person isn't just going to help them, it's going to help everybody. But someone who is really ready to step into those shoes. And I think hopefully the application process that we design will help with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, can you touch a little bit more on why it's more important about the mindset than the money, and kind of, I don't know, just a little bit about that. I think, yeah, this is about money, but obviously you can't become that person and to like have money if you don't have the mindset.
So I'll give you this example. If Miguel and I literally exchanged shoes, and I gave him everything that I run for all the businesses that I have, when it comes down to just the numbers and the difference, like how you handle, like right now I literally will pull up my phone and I have 100 text messages. I'm not kidding. Some from soccer, some from the rental properties, some from the flips, some from my contractors requesting certain things, right? You have to have a certain mind to be able to handle all these things. And if I gave him those tools, I guarantee, like if I gave you my phone and I gave you my whole life right now, you'd go crazy. Like you'd literally be like, oh my gosh. And I've crafted a person that can handle all that. And I've then crafted a person that loves doing it. And I just talked to you about this. It's like now I'm starting to get to the point where there's some of these things I got to delegate. I'm going to hire someone. I need a personal assistant. And I was like, but then you're creating this person, like now this other person is becoming, where like now I'm only going to choose to do things in life that are fun. For me, if those things are fun, I'm not doing them. So it's like that piece is way more important than the money piece, because I can give someone a strategy to become a millionaire in 4 to 5 years, right? But if they are not ready for it, if they're not ready to step into those shoes, then the strategy that I give them, it doesn't even matter, right? So it's like the person is much more important than the money piece, because the person you're becoming, the person you're evolving into, the things you got to break down in your mind, there's a lot of habits that people do not realize they've created that they got to break to become a different person.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. I was listening to a podcast before I got here where the guy talked about how 95% of the world operates on history and memory. At a certain point in your life.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but here's why. Is at a certain point in your life, you adopted some of the memories and the history that your parents taught you, or whoever it was, and a certain person, you just started to identify with it. And you lived your whole life like that. And only 5% operates, he called it, from imagination and visualization. Because that happens when you break the other 95% of the way that you lived, you know? And it's like the average person goes about their lives every single day not even thinking about these things. And very few people then take time to then create a new person, and it's the person that you want to become. So like if everything we talked about right now has nothing to do with money. Like everything we're talking about is an identity. Everything, and no matter what, is this identity keeps changing. It always adapts.
Evolving.
Yeah. But then that's where I say is if I'm always able to adapt and I'm ready to go and I'm looking at these things as lessons, the money is just going to flow. Everything that I step into is just gonna be great.
It's just there on the side.
Yeah, it's just there. It's a byproduct of everything else and who you're becoming.
Yeah. And I bet a professional soccer player thinks about the same too. It's like the training and all that is just like the exercise, but then you'll see like I don't know. I don't know if I'm giving the best
No,
example.
for sure.
But yeah.
So Lamine Yamal right now, I mean, that kid is 17 years old. He's going to be one of the wealthiest players in the world. And you see him in some of these interviews because, like, I study sometimes some of these guys. This guy is the chillest person in the world.
Yeah.
It's like he has no pressure.
I feel like he processes information and responds to things so, like,
Yeah.
dude, he's got a different computer in his head.
He does. But that's why he's such a good player at that age because he has no pressure. He's enjoying everything that he's doing. And he said the other day, he said that the field is like his teacher. And it's like, how can I be nervous? How can I be scared when I'm doing something that I love? I love to just be out there touching the ball, playing with the ball. How can you be scared? The way he plays, you see his face when he plays. Rarely do you see him like with his shoulders down.
Yeah.
Or rarely do you see him like, obviously you miss a shot, you're like this, right? But like his attitude and his demeanor like is always so happy.
And I bet he was playing that same way when he was playing on smaller fields.
For
like
sure.
the scale just increased, but it's the same feeling and the same like joy and thankfulness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to chat a little bit. I think we kind of have to wrap up here, but the Enneagram, what has that been like for you? I'll say you introduced me to the Enneagram a while ago. I don't know how long ago now, maybe 5-6 years ago. And it's been super helpful to kind of, with the self-awareness piece. Do you think that you're going to be involving this in the mastermind? And I guess, how has it brought value to you?
I tell everyone all the time that the Enneagram is really, I think to me, would change my life.
Wow.
Like the Enneagram, that personality test, and I don't say the Enneagram is the only one you should use, but that personality test is a personality test that helped me dive into everything that I was like becoming, and then how to destroy the person that I became to then create a new person. And I think that sparked the idea of like, oh my gosh, I'm living a life that I'm not supposed to live. If I hadn't discovered the Enneagram, I don't know if I would have stepped into those shoes. So the Enneagram literally changed my life in that way. But I also knew that it requires a lot of self-work. It doesn't matter what personality test I give you. If you're not willing to dive into these problems, then it doesn't really matter. And that's why for you, like, it's changed your life too, I bet, because you're willing to like explore those things in the Enneagram.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of personality tests out there. People take personality tests all the time. And they think it's like, it sounds really, really cool. But then after the first day, second day, they're like, oh, it's out the window. And you go back to living your daily life. So it's not just about the Enneagram itself. And like, for me, like maybe I'll touch base. I will touch base on like how that definitely changed my life. But it's hard for me to introduce it because that's a lot of information. That's a lot of details. And then you're giving someone to do. First, right now, I just want people to change the way they think about their life and really like think about the money piece really. And I think that is the first piece. I think the Enneagram is coming later at other masterminds, but that is a full dive deep into your life. And that can really cause a lot of things. I mean, I've heard of people like...
It was a huge mirror.
Yeah, and I've heard of people going through like midlife crises because of the Enneagram, because they realize that they're 40 years old and they've been living a life for so many years that they did not want to live. Like, can you imagine like... But the thing is that it's never too late.
Yes,
like,
never.
It's never too late, you know? So I think that is the crazy part. The Enneagram, like, really changed my life in that way because it helped me discover at such an early age that I wasn't living the life that I wanted to live.
What makes it so deep, man? What makes the Enneagram so, like, profound compared to, like, saying that I'm a Cancer and that Rico is a Libra?
It is actually very similar because maybe not as detailed. I just find so much more information on the Enneagram because the Enneagram talks about this person that you were molded into from the things you didn't have as a child. So the things you were missing as a child, and then what types of habits you created from what was missing as a child. So all these habits that were missing, like whatever it was for me, like then these become habits for me in my daily life. Yeah. And so then I have these habits that no matter what conversations we're in, even if I am super self-aware, I'm always going to resort towards these habits.
And they become your superpowers, which like then becomes like a weird thing.
But at first, they're not your superpowers. If they're at first, they're your downfalls.
Like reliances or like a Band-Aid you're putting on everything.
Yeah. So.
And then it becomes your identity, and it's.
Yeah. So this is how I like to look at it for people. First, it helps you discover who you are. Then it helps you discover, like in the moment alone, like, oh dang, I am actually that way. I didn't realize it. You get a lot of evidence in your life. Then it's like, okay, you just did it, and you step away like, oh my gosh, I just did it. The next step is like you feel yourself doing it in the middle of the conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're really becoming self-aware, like years later. Then another year later, you're like, you're about to do it, and you sort of control it. You know, you can control what you're about to step into. And like for me, the big thing for me is having control. So in this conversation, the whole time we're talking, I have to be careful of how much I'm talking.
Yeah.
Because I know that I can take over. And I know that it doesn't matter what questions you ask, like I can take it wherever I want to take it. So I have to be careful of those things. But at first, like I told you when it was like, we'll be at the middle of the table, someone asked me about shoes. From the conversation of shoes, I can steer it however I want to steer it. And I know that I have the capacity to do that. At first, I never realized that I did that. So now it's like there's all these steps that you're realizing that you're becoming this person. And then it's like, now I know when to do it, I know when not to do it, and I know why, most importantly, I'm doing it. So I think that it's just really, really deep. And that's just one piece of my life as control. But think about doing this for so many different parts of your life.
Yeah.
That is like what the Enneagram has really taught me is handling these subconscious behaviors, they call them.
Yeah, for the people who are following you, you should do a video about it. I think it's a good side video that you can do. But I can tell, man, while I was like putting the camera and I told you that you were gonna go get nervous, you were like, you wanted to take control. Oh no, I'm gonna show you if I get nervous or not. Yeah, I realized that. That's true.
Yeah.
I guess I wanna touch base on getting back at the course a little bit again. I guess. How are you imagining that people are going to start coming more at you to take, I don't want to call it course, but this like mindset, mastermind thing? How, obviously, word of mouth probably is going to be a big one, right?
Yeah.
But how you think people are going to be able to look and see your example out there?
I really do believe that, I think, first of all, like word of mouth is going to be a big, big thing in the community. But I think one of the things I've been thinking about more is the branding piece and like my social media. Because this isn't going to just be about Grand Rapids, right? Like if this goes great, this is going to impact a bigger community. Social media is endless. Someone can be in Japan and listening to some of this stuff. I don't know. So I think that, Mexico. So it's like it's the branding piece and the example that I'm putting out there to the world. It's like me being vulnerable and like who I've been becoming. That piece is gonna then, I think, hopefully make an impact. And it's really interesting because it's like, it's back to the thing I told you guys earlier about, like, if I were to travel somewhere and give them like my resume and it's like, oh, this person's coming to town, they'd be like, okay, this person really knows what they're talking about. But it's like you go into your city and you're trying to bring these things up, it's not as cool because they know you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they know who you really, like, they know who you were, they know who you are. So I think, yes, word of mouth is one piece, but I think the other piece is just going to be the branding, and the social media and like how I'm putting myself out there to the world, not as someone who is like, I know everything, but it's as someone is like, hey, I'm here to serve you.
Yeah.
How can I serve you? How can then we serve our community, and how can we create this environment for our community? So I think that piece is definitely going to be big, social media marketing, and then obviously the word of mouth.
Yeah, I guess wrapping this up, what would you say to someone that says, this sounds cool, but I'm not ready yet. I don't think I'm like in the right mindset, or I don't have $100 to spend, or I don't have 4 hours I'm not trying to do that on a Friday night.
It goes back to self-awareness. Is really digging deep and seeing why you're telling yourself that you're not ready yet. And when are you going to be ready then? If you're not ready for this, when are you going to be ready? And I guarantee you, most people are spending $100, maybe that Friday night, on going out to the club or going out to dinner, going out to whatever it is. And
on FanDuel.
So many things. So if you really break it down, it's like, that goes back to values then. If you're willing to spend more, $100 on betting and going to the club than you are on yourself, that tells you a lot about who you are. So it goes back down to that, is asking yourself, okay, why are you not ready? And when will you be ready? Because other people are going to be ready. And if not, is this going to be a continuous pattern for the rest of your life? Everything that comes up while you're not ready. I mean, this is here in Grand Rapids. Like I said, I've paid thousands and thousands of dollars to be in these things, and I had to travel 4 or 5 times a year to be at these things. We're doing this for $100.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Making it reliable.
What do you say to somebody that says $100 is way too much? You know how many McChickens that is?
I can tell
the one on 44th Street at least.
Whoever's thinking that way goes back down to mindset, self-awareness, but really it goes down to that I am literally going to be able to provide anyone in the room with one simple trick, maybe out of all the different money hacks that I have, for you to be able to make that $100 back instantly. So many little tricks that I can give people when it comes down to money on how to make $100, right? So it's like you're going to pay $100, but you're going to receive thousands and thousands and $1,000 worth of value as long as you're willing to incorporate it. So you pay $100 for a couple $1,000, who wouldn't really make that exchange? Yeah. And when I mean $1,000, it can be in a lifetime, it can be in the next 10 years. For some people, it can be maybe in a week. Like maybe because of one little hack that I gave them in a week, they're going to make thousands of dollars. So I guarantee you, I'm going to be able to provide more than $100 if you want to look at it as a transactional value for in your life.
Let's go. I have hella more questions though, but I just don't know if we have the time.
Oh, it's up to you, man. I have whatever, man.
Yeah.
I don't have anything until 6 p.m. Well, I guess
until 6 p.m.
Nah, my mom almost.
I don't know, but we were having a conversation yesterday, me and Rico, in the front yard, and it's like, usually, I don't want to like just stereotype anyone, or I also don't want to bring the conversation into a lower level or however we want to see it, but usually how, at least in the Midwest, how Mexican people are seen is like lower class, people who are trying to work, people who are like not usually seen with much money. How is it to be Mexican and be the person who you are, have the income that you have, the strategies and mindset that you have as well? Like, probably this conversation is a little bit harder to have with the people of your color.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that.
¿Cómo se siente ser paisa y tener
feria?
Oh my God. Well, that piece, honestly, it's sad. It's really sad for me. I think it really hurts me because I feel like we are, being a Mexican, like, I've gone to all these events and I see I don't think I've seen a Mexican speaking yet. Like, I haven't seen a Mexican speaking yet. And that really hurts me. And I see very few Hispanics. Well, I see a few Mexicans in the crowd, but very few. I met one that just moved from Mexico, and I was like, man, he's killing it. And that really hurts me because I think our culture adopts this mindset of just saving and keeping. Like, man, we are hustlers. But if you can just learn how to invest your money in America with all the hustling that you do, man, you can become millionaires, you know? But we adopt this mentality of hustle and work, hustle and work, hustle and work. One day you wake up, you're 75 years old, you've been working your whole life, you know? And you've been saving your whole life. But also, Hispanics buy things at the wrong time. They're not willing to delay their gratification because we come from a country where it's like it's very hard to get a certain thing. So when you have access to buying it, then you got to buy it. And it's not with a loan, it's cash, always cash. But you could have invested that cash somewhere else, took out a loan, and then that could have paid for this. And if you continue doing that because of how much you work and you don't have a lot of other habits, I mean, they like to drink, but like Hispanics also live very, very simple lives, you know, but they do like to have nice cars, they do like to have nice houses. But if you can just learn how to invest that money instead of paying for everything cash, we can have 4 or 5 times the amount of money, especially if you start early on and start teaching your kids this. So I think that is really hard for me, and it's really sad going to all these events all the time and not seeing many, and it's really inspiring too. Like, it's not, I don't see any Mexicans, a lot of Mexicans get invited to this. I have not seen many like get invited to speak at some of these events, you know? So for me, it's like, that's a big, big thing that I want to provide hopefully an impact for the Mexican community, like, and set that image to the world too. Like, we are just the word that I would use is we're just as valuable as anybody else in this world can be. And we can also provide this value to the world in this way if we just change our mindset a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And I think a big part that I see is like we're connectors as well. Like we have, and you see it, I think, through real estate, is like how many Hispanics you have at your disposal that work really hard, that have great minds, that can build anything. And it's like you and I, or, you know, us that speak Spanish, it's like we can help them become who they want to become, as well as us, you know, and like give them a better lifestyle and like help them with these hacks. Yeah. It's, and I do want to like battle you on a few things, because I see beauty in like how much they work, and it becomes a part of their culture almost. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is how we go. Like, we get home and we had a hard ass day at work, and we're gonna have a nice Corona, and we're gonna like sit back and watch soccer, and like my wife is gonna make me some food or whatever. And it's like it's cool to see culture like that. But yeah, I think at some point we need to start challenging it, and I don't know like who the face of it is for like the next generation, you know, like who's leading the cause on like the immigrant son's style of living,
right?
You know, and I don't think we have that yet in our world.
But it's so cool. It's so cool to hear that, like, because that I feel like that's the traditional Mexican lifestyle. You work so hard all day, you get home, and then you eat some tacos or like whatever it is that you're making, and then you just relax for the rest of the day, and you go back and do it again. But it's also really cool to be able to take your family wherever you want across the world.
Yeah.
And also explore that. But they always only want to go to Mexico. My parents always want to go to Mexico until my mom sees me travel to different places. She's like, I want to go to Paris too. And it's like, go to Paris too. You know, like it's also about not just the one thing that they're stuck in. It's about exposing them so that there's just so many more things that you can do. Just like it is really cool to get home and just relax with your family. It is really cool to be able to have the money to take them wherever you want to go, whenever you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I see it from that perspective. But yeah, I think what I think of when it's like, why use your mind instead of your body? You know, it's prideful to work with your hands or whatever. And that can be an argument. And I think we need a lot more people that work with their hands and
for sure.
are doing good work.
Yeah.
But yeah, at some point it's like, you need to you can have both too. Is the crazy part.
That's what
I'm
saying.
It's like,
you can have both. You can. But
yeah, it comes down to like, what if you break your leg or something? Like, then what? You know, and then it's like, oh, I didn't plan on doing that, or you lose your hand or whatever. It's like, oh, like now what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of the scarcity mindset. I think there's a lot of like coming into the United States and people feeling like they don't have the power to start a business by themselves, or they have a family that they need to take care of, so they can't take a risk. There's a lot of things that we can battle.
Yeah. Immigration problems.
But now it's like
there as much.
The United States is getting to a place where Hispanics in this country have money, and they're seeing that with soccer. They're seeing that with, you know, the Latino sports package, and, you know, they're just like putting so many Hispanic things that are like, oh yeah, like Mexican people have money. We need to tap into that market.
Music too.
Music, everything. So yeah, I think it's really cool to have conversations around Mexican or Hispanic wealth, especially right now. I also wanted to ask you about that, just with like immigration stuff, all the Trump political stuff. I feel it affects me a little bit, but I try not to give it energy because, and this is going to sound bad, but I have the idea that the pendulum is always swinging, that like these sorts of things where the negative and like the evil or whatever you want to, like the unfairness of the world has to be shown, has to be put in the limelight.
Yeah.
And there is value in that. Like eventually the pendulum is going to swing back the other way, and this is just part of what has to happen. I do commend people that are, you know, going and protesting and doing all these things, and I really appreciate those people. I think that's needed. But I think for me, I just try to stay in my lane. I think it's like a matter of like, all right, I have a certain thing that I'm doing in this life, and I think I'm going to try to help out in this way and help the world in general.
Just doing the best you can.
Yeah. But how do you feel about, I guess, the political climate, and how does it affect you?
Yeah, I mean, working in immigration, an immigration law firm, and as a paralegal, senior paralegal, and just being the one right underneath the attorneys and helping with all the different cases, I think working there for like 6-7 years, it really exposed me to the world of like it. There's so much that goes into it that people don't even realize when it comes down to immigration, not just Mexicans. I think, first of all, it's the idea of like, if you really think about immigration, most of the immigrants that come here, I mean, a good amount of Mexicans come here, you're already doing it illegally. So first of all, people need to understand that they are coming here illegally. So that's the first thing. What is not correct is the way they're getting treated. Now, that's completely different, right? And it's like, yes, we're separating our families, they're separating all this, right? But like, they were already in the first piece not supposed to be here. I'm not saying that all these ICE deportations and everything that is happening is correct. There's no way that anybody should be treated the way they are. And then where they put, like that, then that's even crazier, right? But it's like, you also, I mean, yes, you're just trying to come here as a Mexican and create like a better life for yourself, a better world for yourself, but you have to understand these are the consequences that come with it.
It took a risk.
Yeah, and the risk sometimes pays off. You know, for the most part, it pays off. But then you also have to understand that this is the risk you were willing to take. So you were taking the risk of your family being separated. You know, so it's like, it's a bigger concept other than just immigration. But the tough part is, where I see it from is, we're supposed to be a country that everybody looks to, and everybody says this is a free country. Like, this is where you come to be free.
They're treating their people correctly.
Yeah, and despite trying to put that out there to the world, that's I don't think that's the image that people get of our country.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I really struggle with, right? Is we're misrepresenting ourselves because of the way that the government agencies are treating the immigrants. We're not representing ourselves as the country that we're supposed to be. And that's what I battle with the most is like, and that's just probably comes down to my values, right? As more people see it black and white, they're not supposed to be here, so no. It's like, no, they're not supposed to be here, but the fact that they're not supposed to be here, they wanted to be here because this is the best country in the world. Like, understand that piece. So you don't understand where they're coming from because you've never been in their shoes. So how can you understand when you grew up your whole life with money? How can you understand when you grew up your whole life having a shelter over your head? You cannot understand the other side of things. And that is the hard piece, is like, how do you get someone there to understand the complete opposite side? And it's really hard to have topics of like politics when it comes down to this. But I'm going to take it a step further because people don't understand this. Is the U.S. also rejects people who come here legally, who are some of the smartest people in our country. And because they don't have certain visa categories, because they don't have certain visa numbers or whatever it is, they have to go back to a different country or work in a different country to then come back into our country. But we're actually denying, and they're coming here legally. They're coming here for college. I helped so many visas, and they were coming here legally to be doctors, to be engineers, some of the brightest people, but we didn't have enough. There's a lottery, so only certain people get picked. So those people had to go back to India. Those people had to go to Canada. Those people had to go to work for that company for a couple years and then come back to the U.S. So it's not just the people coming here illegally. It's also we're denying people that are coming here legally. So again, how are we, the best country in the world when we're also doing this? And that's because of the legal system, the immigration system that we have in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, what do you think, someone that's dealing with things or, being affected negatively by the political climate, I guess, do you have any tips or anything for those people that, I don't know, maybe are struggling with just the labeling on immigrants or, just the maybe feeling powerless over the administration?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think if you really educate yourself, like, first of all, take a step back to see where you are in this whole immigration, all the immigration policies that are coming into place. Like, where does it actually affect you first? Because you got to take care of yourself first before you start going out there and sharing information that you don't even know about. Like, where do you stand? And then where you understand where you stand, okay, am I safe? Because like right now, I mean, I'm hearing stories of people, Mexicans are getting deported, and not just Mexicans, Hispanics are getting deported that are U.S. citizens, right? So it's like, even if I am a U.S. citizen, but I am Hispanic, like me, myself, if someone pulls me over and they started asking me questions about immigration, I worked in this. I know exactly, like, no, bro, you can't touch me. I'm a U.S. citizen. Like, no, and if something happens from that, like, I know what to say, or I know I can call people up on my phone right now. I know attorneys, like, that I can, so I know and I have access to those things, right? But people need to be educated when it comes down to those things in that moment, because it can happen to anyone as Hispanic. And even for me being a U.S. citizen, if someone pulled me over, I know exactly, like, I would probably call her. She's an immigration attorney. Like, she has her bar number. She can tell them exactly what she does. She can tell them who I am. She can tell them all these things. So if you need to pay to have access to something like that, an attorney, pay for it. Because if that makes you feel safe, then do it, right? But then also going steps back, it's the same thing if you're here on a visa, if you're here illegally, like if you're here, like understand where you stand within everything that is going on. Because even if you're here illegally, you still have rights. So you got to understand your rights. You have to understand how to respond to people. You have to understand they knock on your door. You don't have to open the door. Right, so educating yourself on that piece, if it scares you that much, is really, really important. And then you can go out there and provide more advice for other people. Because if you can't even understand your own position, I mean, it's going to be really hard for you to then help other people. Yeah. And then the last piece is don't give information and don't give suggestions out if you don't even know. Like, don't take the news that you're getting from media, especially the Hispanic media, because like it's all this media in Mexico that is then getting feedback from the U.S. It's like they're trying to provide suggestions on what's going on, and they're creating it all like it's this craziest thing in the world, and it's like that may not even be right, but now it's scaring you, and now you're scaring other people. Yeah. So I think that's really important. My mom comes to my house all the time. Did you see that this was on the news and this and that? I go research it. I'm like, Mom, that's not true, but she believes it.
People gets driven by fear, and that's when chaos starts to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to me that like even people that are legal, that have documentation, I think, and I like feel it internally, and maybe I'm more apathetic or whatever the word is, like empathetic towards people that are looking like me or like within my family or whatever, obviously. But yeah, a lot of people feel these things and feel fear for other people even. Yeah. And I think a lot of, it's not just people that are illegal that are being affected by these energies. And yeah, it's interesting to try to like balance all these things when there is just like all of life to also worry about. Yeah, not letting that stress kind of get at you.
And what I'm saying at the end of the day is the way they're going about it, it doesn't need to be that way. That is the biggest thing. Yeah. Go ahead and apply your policies and everything that you're doing, but it does not need to be this way, and you don't have to create this fear like this out into the public. Yeah,
the fear, and I think the biggest part is like, okay, if you guys are going to go about it, like, don't go about it like treating them like animals. Yeah. Don't talk about them poorly. Don't call them rapists, or like, it's like these are things that are like making a man lesser than, and it's like,
right,
okay, they're here illegally, all right, that's fair, like, do what you got to do, but when it comes down to speaking down to them and calling them criminals, and it's like, it's not that black and white. There's a massive gray area.
Yeah, immensely.
Algo más, Miggy?
No, I think I feel pretty good. 1 hour 37.
Dope. Yeah.
Where people can follow you, Jessie? Social media, bro.
I just changed my social media. Everything is in my personal account when it comes down to it. I forgot the name that I even changed it to. I think it's just
Jessie_Zamudio, I think.
Yeah, I just changed it to Jessie_Zamudio to make it super simple. I saw most of the people that I follow, that I listen to, it's just our name, and so Jessie_Zamudio,
I believe.
Yeah, it is. And then I think so my soccer pages, I'm in Jay-Z Elite Training on social media. You can look up East Football Club. That's my soccer club, and you look up Ole Futsal Club. That's our futsal club. But me personally on social media, Facebook is just Jessie_Zamudio, or just Jessie Zamudio on social media. And then website's coming soon.
Dope.
Go.
JessieZamudio.com. Is that where we're going?
Yep.
JessieZamudio.com. That's the one.
Go follow this guy.
Yeah.
A lot of, I don't know. You want to close it?
Yeah, just a nice conversation. I'm excited for the mastermind. I'm excited to see the impacts of it, just initially, as well as what happens down the future. You know, what happens with the next masterminds and where it takes these things.
I'm excited for the people who's gonna take it. I'm excited for like the growth that is gonna change. Yeah, it's pretty dope, man.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I guess not that I'm gonna put ourselves there, but just leading culture. I guess like someone has to lead it, or like create the spaces that have conversations about how we're gonna live our lives as a culture. And so, yeah, if you're serious about, you know, being a son of an immigrant and what our life looks like for ourselves and for our kids, like how we need to be, how health plays a role, how wealth plays a role. I think these are all very serious things, and yeah, do your parents proud. You know, culturally, I think we have a lot of family strength and pride. And these are like the next conversations, I guess. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, super exciting to continue to watch you on your journey, to continue to support each other, and excited for all the things that you're looking to do in Grand Rapids and even further out than that.
We definitely need a second part, bro.
Let's go.
More sauce.
I can do this all day, 24/7.
Let's go.
Thank you guys for having me and for doing all this. I think what you guys are doing here in Grand Rapids, the store you're creating, Rico, not just the store, but the environment, the culture, the values that you're instilling, and just the street. I mean, how did you change the street? Like for me, I know many people drive down Division, it's like Nido, you know? So it's like, I mean, we need a lot of people like this in Grand Rapids. We need a lot of people like this in the world. So like, thank you, you know, for Rico, because without everything you're creating here, like it wouldn't really be possible. We'd probably be doing this in the basement or something.
And Aves Films. Shout out Aves Films.
Shout out to Aves. Shout out to Omar, Kenny, Shafi, Avi, Gabo, all of them. All the birds.
Maybe one day we'll all be traveling together hosting these.
Hopefully,
Los
man.
pajaritos.
Knock on wood.
Don't say hopefully. Again, changing the mindset. We want to do it. We're going to do it.
Oh, we're actually not at Nido. We're at Japan right now. We're doing this podcast. We brought the whole background.
They would never know.
They will not know, bro.
We're here in Osaka.
We're in Osaka.
Bueno. NIDOCAST.
Peace out.
Peace out, y'all.